Two of the greatest lessons that addiction has taught me is the process of maturing in love and how to love. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. This is my personal journey, and I've noticed what I'm about to say has a lot to do with getting to the root of our addiction and understanding it so we can transform, so we can let go of the things that are harming us, harming the people we love. And for those of you who don't know, I've had my own crazy, intense journey battling and overcoming addiction. I've been addicted to almost everything, but I've been addicted to cocaine, weed for like 12 years, alcohol for a very long time, porn, sugar, carbs, extreme sports, and there was a time in my life where it really did a lot of damage. I was addicted also to negative thinking, and let's say who isn't? I was addicted to toxic relationships, sex. I was addicted to the intense drama of toxic relationships. We can turn anything into addiction. But for my journey, I've been free from being addicted to all of these things. So there comes this point in our journey where the first thing I wanted to talk about was how maturing in love has a lot to do with understanding addiction. So I've been free from all of the substances for years now. Like no alcohol, not even coffee. I haven't drank coffee in, gosh, how long has it been? Maybe 3 years. I haven't had alcohol in maybe 5 years. No weed in like 4 years. No toxic relationships in like 2 years. But yeah, all of these are victories, all of these are wins. And what I wanted to talk about as far as maturing in love is that in the beginning, when we enter this world, when we enter this life, unless you are exempt from inheriting some kind of generational traumatic pattern from your family or caregivers, you are going to be susceptible to this. We are introduced into this world as in a very hostile environment. Dysfunctional families are almost the norm. Dysfunctional ways of relating, and our definition of love is written by our own childhood self. We create this definition, and if you go to Gabor Mate's work, he's been addressing addiction holistically, and he's a pioneer in this field of understanding addiction, taming addiction in a holistic way. But he says that, as children, when our parents or our guardians fail us in some way, shape, or form, whether it's even an authority figure that is supposed to be taking care of us, as children, we blame ourselves. I found that true to be across the board. Everyone I talk to, everyone I work with, everyone I've observed, we all develop this story about ourselves. So the trauma occurs, and Dr. Gabor Mate says trauma is not what happened to us, but it's more so the story that we created within ourselves about ourselves when that occurred. It's the root of low self-esteem. It's the root of also like stunted brain development. We don't get the secure attachment that calms our nervous system as children. We don't know how to calm our nervous systems as toddlers, as babies. And so when we're in that environment, we don't develop that secure attachment. We don't have the correct view of what love could be. And I say could be because I do believe love is a verb. It's a process that matures over time. And so going back to this idea where we blame ourselves for the hurt that we experience as children, it goes so deep that that is the story and the definition of love that we operate by well into our adulthood, until we start asking the hard questions and looking in the mirror and taking a look in our shadow and being brutally honest with ourselves, our words, our actions. So this process of maturing in love, it starts off as we define love as something that is actually harmful and detrimental to us. It feels good instantly. It's often something that feels good, like instant gratification, whether it be sugar, whether it be tuning out at the TV, or staring at our iPad, getting these dopamine rushes. We define love as that dysfunctional relationship we saw with our parents, the way maybe our fathers, most likely our fathers, or maybe even our mothers, were emotionally unavailable, shut off. We define love as the criticism, the contempt we saw in the household, the dysregulated nervous systems where no one can just fully, securely, calmly, and lovingly attach to where love is something that's life-giving. Instead, we enter the world and we give this definition of love to things that are harmful, things that are detrimental, things that aren't good for us in the long run, but they just feel good temporarily, instantly. It's that instant gratification. And from my journey of, slowly and slowly in this process of knocking out all these addictions and actually coming to a place where I'm like, that doesn't feel right anymore. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. It's not what I want. It's not where I want to go. It's not what I want to create in life. And now what I call maturing in love is understanding what is life-giving, what is functional. So we enter the world and we define love as dysfunctional poison, and that's what is so difficult for most of addicts, I found, to let go of what they are addicted to, because they give it this definition of it's what I love, yet it's creating some kind of massive, insatiable debt that doesn't stop growing, which always leads into crisis. It's a debt that always leads into crisis, unless by the grace of God, unless by a miracle that you're in this place and time where you can receive the wisdom of someone who's been there, done that, and it hits you deeply. And that's my whole intention right now, is if you're in that place where you're so fed up and sick of the pain that you've caused yourself, that you've caused others, it could be a point where my words may in fact help you to avoid the crisis, and you can change and you can understand yourself. So we go from this place where love is dysfunctional and harmful to ourselves and or others. And as we mature in love, from my own experience, my own journey in this, it goes to a place where love now I've defined as what is healthy, what does not cause a debt. And I mean severe debts, because addictions cause severe debts. I'm not talking about just like an actual minor opened up your credit card for the first time and want to build credit kind of debt. I'm not talking about that kind of debt. I'm talking about massive debts that impact you negatively, impact your health, wealth, love, joy, relationships negatively. That's the kind of debt I'm talking about. We go to this place, well, I've gone to this place where love pulls me out of these debts. Love gives me life. Love rejuvenates me. Love heals me. And also how in the beginning, when we're immature in love, that pleasure that we would find instantly from the sugar or the TV or whatever it is, your kids probably are getting it from their iPad or their phones. Love, when you mature, I notice it doesn't feel, there is no instant gratification. There's a delayed gratification. In fact, the things I notice that are good for me nowadays, they are not instantly pleasurable. I mean, I guess I could say, I'm talking about, there's obviously a caveat to that, because there are things that are healthy for us that can calm our nervous system, but they don't give us that rush is what I'm talking about. And going back to Dr. Gabor Mate's work, addictions, what he's found is that the thing we attach to externally, whether it's the drugs, whether it's the sex, whether it's the sugar or the drama or the substances, when we attach to these substances, they give us that sense of attachment we never got in the household, that we never got when we were children, that we never got as a child is supposed to get. It's a need that we never got from our caregivers. That feeling of love, warmth, life-giving, health, calming our nervous system, putting us at a state of ease and feeling safe. When we reach for these addictions, when we create these addictions with the sugar, etc., we create this attachment for ourselves. Only thing is, what we were really craving was deep attachment to a human being that can truly help us feel safe in our own bodies. As children, when we develop that definition of what love is, to be poison, we reach for these things outside of us, and it triggers different hormonal reactions like dopamine rush, adrenaline rush, cortisol, and it does temporarily ease us, but in the long run, we're not actually getting that deep connection that we're looking for. So ironically, I truly believe that this is all on purpose. Like, maybe you don't believe that there's a higher power and that everything is happening or orchestrated in ways we cannot understand, by an intelligence we cannot understand. Call it God, call it the cosmos, call it divine intelligence. I truly believe that all of that is on purpose, because, well, for one, I'm not going to go into all the different synchronicities that happen in our lives, in my life, that have just been too mind-blowing to be just coincidence and accidental, just the plan of it all, and how I'm teaching this to you today. I feel like it's all on purpose. Coincidences, synchronicities, everything we learn, but I believe it's on purpose that we experience that trauma when we grow up, when we enter this world. Because as we are all here experiencing life, I do believe we're actually here to learn. We're here to grow, and we're here to discover ourselves, and we're here to discover that divine intelligence, or God, call it what you will. I believe we are here to discover the magic, the mystery of this experience called life. And with that whole thing being set up to where we enter this world with this dysfunctional, immature definition of love, I've realized to actually unlock my soul's gift, what my soul really yearns for, is to understand and to grow and to know itself, to know thyself. And because of this problem, this challenge that you're facing with addiction, it's the perfect platform when you finally get sick of the pain of staying the same, to open up and grow, to learn about yourself. And this is the point where we start moving from an immature love into a mature state of love. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about today was how to love. And I say this because, again, our original definition of how to love looks like abuse. It looks dysfunctional. It looks like poisoning ourselves. It looks like, things that destroy us. But as I'm maturing in love, and what I discover how love can be, as I start to heal, as I start to grow, and I start to expand, and I start to unlock more and more gifts of my soul, and I start to really experience this freedom within myself, within my own life, within my own body, within my own mind, I'm realizing that there is a love that is like blissful. It's sustainable. It doesn't cause a terrible hangover. I'm finding that there is this love that gives me health, that is functional, that elevates and levels up the people I'm with. Like when I have this way of relating to the people in my life, I notice we level up. Like we're leveling up, and we're not putting each other in any kind of debt. We're not acquiring some kind of hidden debt, in the background, unconsciously, whether it be with mental, emotional, physical, relational, financial health. I'm learning that there is this love that I'm maturing into that is creating life. It's life-giving to myself, and it's life-giving to the people around me. And so when I talk about how to love, I'm learning that I once defined love as, something that was just pleasurable. That was like, I guess if I could boil it down, my definition of love was just connecting with a human being and creating pleasure together. And caring too. I mean, obviously, with the keikis, with the kids, and with family members, caring was also a part of the definition of love, but it doesn't account for all of this, the dysfunctional abuse. And when relationships are more abusive than they are caring, it's like, is it really love if it's destroying me? Is it really love if it's not allowing me to discover who I am? Is it really love if it's keeping me in this broken loop of hurting myself and hurting others? Like, is it really love? Is it really true is the real question. Is it really true that chronic abuse, that chronic pain, that chronic debt is love? Is it really true? That's the question we should be asking. And so, maturing in love, how to love, I realized it's learning how to respect, honor, and care. Like respect, honor, and care for myself and for those around me equally. respect, obviously I can't respect, honor, and care for everyone around me, but first and foremost myself, so that I can respect, honor, and care those around me. The same thing goes to, like, when you're in the plane and the plane is about to crash, they always go through the whole instruction that if there is an event where the oxygen masks come down, you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. That way you can help other people around you. And it goes back to that. So respect, honor, and care for myself, because I find that going back to the whole childhood definition, when our guardians or our parents or authority figures fail us in some way, shape, or form, we blame it on ourselves first. We create this negative story about ourselves, or I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not kind enough, or I'm not hard enough, I'm not, whatever it is, I'm not enough is that definition we give ourselves. And this is where that whole movement of self-love comes from. But people are getting that twisted too, because people are still operating in self-love in this immature state of love, where they think self-love is, okay, I'm gonna just keep giving myself more poison. I'm gonna keep giving myself more things that acquire these debts. I'm gonna keep engaging with these relationships that are bad for me, bad for my mental, emotional health. But they give me great sex. But in the long run, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? And again, I can't define whether that's worth it to you or not. I'm just saying, for me, to spiral downward in life for temporary pleasure, which I was defining as love, is not worth it for me. I'm finding that as I experience this mature side of love, of respecting, honoring, and caring for myself, and how I'm able to respect, honor, and care for other people and understand what they're going through, it's like night and day. And experiencing an upward spiral in my life, like, that's priceless. So for me, going back, calling self-love as poisoning myself for temporary pleasure and to numb myself and to escape, it's not worth it. And that's not what I'm talking about when I say how to love. So self-love for me has been things that respect, honor, and care for myself, because we all have given ourselves that definition from a very young age. I would say most all of us. I say there are probably very few exceptions in this crazy world that have not developed this not good enough, insecure, inadequate definition or story they tell themselves because of their initial experience of love. So now learning how to love and move in love and grow in love is about respect, honor, and care. And I've also noticed, because once upon a time, I was always trying to help other people so much, fix their problems, but at the same time I realized it was just a way for me to avoid my own problems. It was just a way to avoid that story that I was telling myself that I'm not good enough. And here I am trying to gain validation unconsciously. I think most codependents do this. They're trying to gain validation unconsciously, because when you help people, now people value you. Now people are like, oh yeah, they say good things about you, right? Like, oh yeah, he's always there to help. He's always there. But little did they know how low self-esteem I had, how much low self-esteem, because it was to the point where it was harmful to me. And I see this with a lot of people. They'll help too much to the point it's detrimental to them. It drains them. It drains them, and now they're not honoring and caring for themselves. It's like they've neglected themselves. there's extremes to everything I say, right? There's people who only choose to care for themselves, and there's people who choose to only care for others. Obviously, the narcissist is the one that only cares for themselves and is willing to actually put other people in danger to care for themselves, right? That's a whole different extreme. In fact, when I talk about how to love, it goes back to learning how to love all of life. Learning how to love all of life, including myself, including nature, including the environment, including my neighbor, including the enemies, including the people that talk shit about me, including the people that try to look down on me and are contemptuous with me, including everyone, including the person I don't know, the rapist, the murderer. And I've come face to face in some crazy, insane experiences, most recently where I've had to look like evil straight in the eye, and like they were trying to kill. Like it was someone that was trying to hurt people. Like, no joke, this guy was like 50 pounds bigger than me too. But it was like I was already growing in the state of love, and to come face to face with that, there's this dilemma, right? It's like, how do I remain in love without hating this person, without, fully dehumanizing this person? And it was so interesting because it was like I was just ready for anything, ready for shit to get super real, while still trying to be in this place that I'm compassionate for this person. I realize this person is not all there. This person is having a psychotic break. But at the same time, I'm not going to take any shit. And, fortunately, everything turned out okay. We had a lot of help. That was a whole different story. But how to love is my point. Is that there's this nuance. There's such a nuance, because there's going to be times where life is asking us, like, are you going to love yourself? Are you going to respect, honor, and care for you in this moment? Because you are the one that needs it the most this moment. And there will be other times where I'm realizing, like, okay, like I'm good. Like I've been loving, caring, respecting for myself. My cup is full. I'm vitalized. My chi, my energy, my life force feels like solid. And I encounter someone who needs help, and I'm in the perfect position to help, love, respect, and honor and care for this person. And then there's other times where I'm like so low, depleted, and going through my own process, overcoming my own challenges, looking at the places that are hard to look at, and someone also asks me, oh, I need your help, blah, 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 I can't do this, do that, do this. And another person asks, oh, sure, I need your help, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is where the nuance comes in. And this is where you have to remember that you have to put your oxygen mask on for yourself. So learning how to respect, honor, and care for myself, this plays a huge role in the undoing process of addiction. Because undoing process of addiction, I would say most everyone is going to experience some kind of relapse. I'd say relapse is probably just a part of the game, and I'll probably make a whole nother series about relapse. But from my own experience, every relapse was more so like it's like a test, but also like if you don't pass that addiction test, the test that comes after it is, how are you going to love, respect, and honor and care for yourself? Like, how are you going to respect, honor, and care for yourself when you've made a mistake, when you've failed, the same experience that you've felt as a child when you blamed yourself for something, some kind of trauma, right? It's like, it goes back to that. It goes back to that experience where, okay, now am I gonna kick myself? Am I gonna shame myself? Am I gonna guilt myself? Or am I going to like fully like learn how to respect, honor, and care for myself as if I was my own child? This process of learning how to respect, honor, and care for ourselves, it's a process of understanding how to be the parent we wish we had for ourselves. It's called reparenting yourself. And I found this to be probably the most pivotal practices in this game of relapse. And I will be coming up with a masterclass of addressing like all these different nuances in understanding ourselves, because there's so much mystery to us. The God within us is so incredibly mysterious and amazing. The technology that we are, like our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirit, we are this unbelievable technology. And if it wasn't for this path of addiction and me diving into understanding why do I get addicted to these things, or was I addicted to these things, I would not have discovered how miraculous it is to be alive. Like truly, to be talking to you right now. There are billions and billions of biochemical reactions occurring in our bodies every single second. That's, I mean, if you really think about it, it's mind-blowing. And when scientists have really dissected like the periodic elements of what we're made of, we're actually made up of like elements from all these different stars and things in the cosmos. Like it's not just the Earth. Like the Earth itself is made up of all these different elements in the cosmos. And so it's like, it took all of the universe to create us right now, for me to transmit this information to you so you can possibly come to this point in your life where you discover how freaking miraculous you are. And it's this addiction that's been in the way. The real yearning, as we start to understand how to love, is we have a deep yearning to know ourselves. We have a deep yearning to know the God within, or what Christians would say, He that is within me. We have such a deep hunger for it. Like we're hungry to know this mystery within ourselves, to know this freedom, this liberation, this limitlessness within ourselves. And we're stuffing this addiction thinking that's gonna feed the hunger, but it doesn't feed the hunger. So it's a blessing that it all happened. And again, like, this is why I say I feel like everything is divinely timed. If you're watching this right now, even this is divinely timed. And it's just a miracle. So learning how to love, how to respect, honor, and care has been a result of me diving into understanding why I was doing the things I was doing. And it's just been a beautiful journey. And like I said, I'm still in this process. We're all gonna be in this process for the rest of our lives, but I truly believe we can all get to a place where we're not engaging in the really harmful stuff anymore. We're not engaging in the things that destroy our relationships, the things that destroy our connection and relationship to ourselves, because that is truly what we are hungry for. How to love and care for ourselves. And we experience like a whole new level of relationship with everyone and everything, the more we really understand and learn how to love ourselves. It's not something that just happens in isolation all by itself. It's like, okay, I'm going to disappear from the world, I'm going to learn how to love myself, and then I'm going to learn how to love people. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, it's a process of being in the world, experiencing the dysfunction, seeing the other people that are addicted to other things, experiencing relapse. But interwoven through all of this is learning how to respect, honor, and care for ourselves every step of the way. How to start rewriting this story that we're not good enough or we're not safe. It's all a process of learning how to respect, honor, and care for ourselves. And this is where we start to really develop this maturing in love, where what we start seeing as love, what we start defining as love, are things that give us life. And it gets to the point, it literally does get to the point where, you know, you try and go back, like there's this part of you that still wants to go back, and it's just a reminder, of like, that's not what I want, that's not where I want to go, that's not what I want to create in this world, that's not what I want to be known by, that's not what I want to be known for, that's not who I really am. You start understanding that who you really are is that soul that craves so desperately to know itself and unlock and unleash its gifts, its technology, its genius into the world. The more you start experiencing that genius and that love and that bliss that requires no substance, that requires no validation, that requires almost absolutely nothing other than fresh air. You know, that's pretty much all you really need. Fresh air, a breath of lungs, and the ability to see the miracles that are happening all around you. It's like that love is sustainable. That love is what really helps you start letting go of the things you once called love. And that's what I have found to be the most difficult journeys of people when they're battling with addiction, is that their definition of what they are addicted to is what they define as their love.